go and shall go to see what the movies.
28 Minutes or Less podcast with S. Foster.
Battles to win.
28 minutes. 28 minutes. S. Foster. S. Foster. S. Foster.
What's good, people? This is S. Foster back for another episode of 28 Minutes or Less. And this is episode 63 of the podcast. And I am not solo again this week. First and foremost, shout out to my last guest, VJ, for coming on the podcast. But today, I got a very special guest, man. I got the homie Ciege from this dude got a long list, man. This dude is from, you know what I'm saying, the C podcast. You know what I'm saying? He's the owner of the Link Entertainment. He also is a part of the 4-3 podcast with me and Scoots Bronson, E. Carter, and JD. Also, you might as well say you're a part of the First Class podcast as well, man. I mean, man, what am I missing, man? Because you're a very, very busy man like me, man. Did I even get everything there?
You missed one thing that's brand new, though. I just started out a custom laser and engraving business called Kurt's Custom Engraving. So, yeah, that's the only thing you missed, my guy.
That's what's up, man. Very busy, man. Entrepreneur, man, on the podcast with me, man. I've been wanting to get a pod with you for a while, man. Like, you know, we like I mentioned, we do the 4-3 podcast together. You know, just from when we be doing our little pre-production before we get started, man. You just seem like a very interesting dude, man. So I wanted to have a sit down with just me and you. And this is why I wanted to start, though. You know what I'm saying? That is a sports podcast that we do. And you, like E would always talk about how y'all play football together and how both y'all had played semi-pro and everything. And he said that you were the defensive back like me, man.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So when did you started playing football? Like, did you start, you know what I'm saying, very, very young, or like when did that come about?
Yeah, I started young, but I didn't play like organized up until that point, believe it or not. My first love was soccer, so I started off playing soccer when I was young. I got recruited real young to play soccer, but you know, coming from where we come from, it wasn't the cool sport. So I was like, nah, I'm good. So I started hooping. You know what I'm saying? My dad always took me out there and started hooping. My dad and my uncles, man, they got trophies still from hooping. So, you know, they taught me how to hoop. So I was hooping with the big boys back then. You know, I was hooping with the big boys. And then football was just something, man. I just loved the strategy behind it. So, I just started playing in backyards and doing all that. And then my senior year, I tried out for a high school team or whatever. Our school didn't have a team, so I had to try out for another high school team. And it was my senior year, and they thought I was good enough to like lead blocking drills and all of that stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? But the commute was too long, man. So I was like, I can't be riding the bus for 4 hours a day just to play. You know what I'm saying? You got to catch these buses and transfers and all that. I'm like, so I'm good. So I stopped there. But then we started, we started looking at teams. We had the itch to still play. And we suited up and went out there, man, and played a little semi-pro ball.
Man, that is crazy, yo. I didn't even know it was your senior year. Like, I'm thinking that you played, because, see, I played, you know what I'm saying, since 11. That was my first time playing organized football. So I played from 11, and I hit an early growth spurt. So, like, I was pretty much, like, the size that I am now. Well, at least the height anyway. I mean, I was a lot thinner, but like by 7th grade, like I've been 6'2" since the 7th grade. Like I just shot up and then just stopped, dude. Completely hit it. Just stop. And so like I was on the 9th grade team in football in 7th grade, and I was on the JV junior varsity team my 8th grade year. And I was on varsity, but like we had a thing where you could play varsity and JV when you were a freshman. So I played both, and then I became a starter my sophomore year. But like, so I'm thinking you've been playing since like like
Nah.
little. But it's so wild how when I hear about different states, cause dude, like it down here in the South. For the people that don't know, you know what I'm saying, you up in Ohio, but
Mhm.
like down here in the South, dude, like I don't even know of any schools that don't have a football team. Like it's
Yep.
like every school got a football team, man. It's like football god down here. I know that Ohio, there's a lot of great athletes that are in Ohio as well, but it's just like, yo, like there's I can't think of any schools down here unless they're like a private school or something that don't have a football team. So we
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about those type problems. The only problem we had down here was like just coaches like recruiting on the low, like trying to get you to come to their school. You know what I'm saying? It's happened to me a couple of times where, coaches wanted me to come play at their school or whatnot. So because what I was gonna ask you, because we was talking before we started, and I learned a lot more, but like I just remember you saying that you had went to Akron University, and I
Mhm.
was gonna ask you like, what was this like a football scholarship situation? But now you
Nope.
telling me you didn't even that
No
you
way.
didn't even play like that. But so how was semi pro, man? Because we gotta talk about this, man. Like you went to play your senior year organized, but that
Mhm.
didn't work out, and then you go straight to grown men
It,
playing football
it
against
was a little
grown
learning
men.
curve. It was a little learning curve, but the learning curve was more so like, all right, I'm still high school fast, like moderately college fast. I'm not this fast. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it is I didn't even play there long because I was having like migraine issues still. So my first year I had to leave. Like my doctor was like, bro, you take one bad hit, it's over. So you need to chill. So I was like, all right, I gotta chill. The second time I played a few games or whatever and went through the whole training camp, all of that stuff, just like I did the first time. And then, which is crazy the first year, by the way, because I was supposed to start that year for the team. Like I was supposed to be the starting corner. So so that's crazy. So I was supposed to start my first year instead of pro at corner, but I had to leave. So then the second year, it just, with working and then, you know what I'm saying, with my ex-wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, fiance, we was, there was a lot of stuff going on. And then we ended up moving up here. The interesting caveat to that story is this. So I didn't play that long, right?
Hmm.
But I got a recruitment letter from Tennessee State, and Tennessee State is not a great football school, but it's a school, a football program, bro. So
Yeah.
like my mom was like, "Hey, you trying to go play for Tennessee State?" I'm like, "Ooh, let me go." So I'm like, they try to train me to be a corner. I'm about to go. I told my mom like I'm about to go to the league, but I ended up not doing that in pursuit of, you know what I'm saying, marriage and the family and all of that stuff. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And Akron U, I was supposed to play. This is the one email I do still have because I just be thinking like, man, you stupid for not doing this. Baseball, man. I was supposed to play baseball at Akron U. I wasn't even supposed to play football.
Oh man.
I still got the email from the coach. He like, man, listen, all you got to do is change this class to this time frame. It's gonna take you a little bit longer to graduate. I'm like, nah, I gotta graduate. I can't be sitting up here with you forever, bro.
Oh man.
So I
That's
didn't even.
interesting.
Yep. So I didn't even play baseball. That's the only thing I kept, but I'm gonna get rid of it eventually, bro.
Dude, when I tell you I am so mad, like I think I still got a grudge against my mom, man, for what she did. Like, so I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not gonna act like I was the most heavily recruited kid ever, but like I had like a lot. I had like one shoebox. You know what I'm saying? Just
Mhm.
one shoebox full of letters, man. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, North
I
Carolina
only
State.
had that one small little letter, but the reason why I brought it up is because it's so crazy because I didn't play that long. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they only saw
they saw the potential.
literally a handful of games. They like, well, we need somebody his height. Probably he was like, let's just grab him. Like
Yeah.
that's why I brought that up. It ain't nothing amazing. It's just crazy. Like, bro, like what? This dude? Like y'all gonna let this dude come in here? Like, all right.
That's funny. This wasn't this dude. But yeah, man, I had went after I screwed away all of my great opportunities, you know what I'm saying? Like from the schools, like, I was just like as far as like I mean the shoebox was full, but like the only like coaches letters where like I'm actually really talking to coaches. was like North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, and Virginia. And it's like then once I figured out, like, yo, like this grade situation started to catch up with me. So then I had to start thinking smaller. And then it was like the Charleston Southerns and the Citadel. And then I went on one visit. I went to Tusculum College in Tennessee. It's in Greenville, Tennessee. I went up there. They was trying to have me. They were like, yo, you'll be starting corner, all this type stuff. All you got to do is do this on the SAT. Didn't get it. And then it's like, and then it's like that didn't work. So then, like your boy had to. I went to Greenville Technical School, which is just a little school I was just going to get some classes and stuff like that. And then I ended up talking to my receivers coach from high school. He got me into the school Fairmont State University, which is in West Virginia. So I go up there for. I was up there, then I came home for like spring. It wasn't spring break. It was a summer break. My mom that went through my room, threw my shoebox away, man. I was like, come on, like man, you gonna throw the shoebox away?
Not the shoebox,
Man.
anything, but she should have known, like, this is a
Yeah,
shoebox.
like
Something
really,
in the
like
shoebox.
there's a reason the shoebox is up under my bed, yo. Like, come on. So man, I lost all my letters, man. Because I mean, I just looked at it like that was an accomplishment to be where I was, man, and like to be recruited at a smaller level that I was. It was like at least I had the letter, I had the proof. Like now the proof is gone.
Yeah.
So so man, you into music, man. Um, I've been seeing your posts, man. I be seeing you, man. You've been talking about some things that you got on your mind as far as right now. But like, so when did music become a love to you besides sports? So when did that really come about?
Music was probably long as I can remember, to be honest with you, man. Like, even before sports, like I did my first performance, I think in middle school. Yeah, I did my first performance in middle school. We did a talent show. Then we did a talent show, I think my 8th grade year. And we won second in that. And we was the youngest people there. Everybody else was grown. You know what I'm saying?
And y'all
We
did
like,
some Jackson 5 shit.
we like 12. No, actually, we was rapping. We wasn't even singing. We was rapping. Which that's another long story, but how we got there. But we was rapping. We was second. Some little dudes. So that was pretty cool. But music, as long as I can remember, man, I had a little keyboard my mom had got me. My dad had got me one when I got a little older. He got me a nice one, man. So I was down there just plugging and chugging away. And I ended up even building my own, like me, my brother, we built a whole little analog makeshift studio in my grandma's basement. So we was just on it, man. It was just one of those things where it was just ingrained in us.
Dang, that's what's up. So then you mentioned something to me, which is news to me, and this is why I love like reaching out to people and talking to different people because you learn different things. And you mentioned like it wasn't nothing. Yeah, man, I went and did this little, you know what I'm saying, this little American Idol thing in Chicago, man. It's like what you mean this little thing in Chicago, man? Like, nah, we got to talk about this. So was there like, did you like enter like a show when you got selected for like a part, or you just drove out to Chicago like to just do an audition? So how did
Not,
that go?
yeah, I actually did the paperwork to audition or whatever.
Mhm.
But what people don't think about, like, it's an actual show, right? So that you don't go in and then automatically go see the judges. You know what I'm saying? It's two things you got
Mhm.
to do, two levels before you even get there. At least it was back then, and I did that in '07. I think I told you when we was talking about it. So yeah, I got to the first part, and the first part was it was just 2 or 3 A&Rs. No, it was 4 A&Rs. As a matter of fact, it was 4 A&Rs, and then there was a group of 4 of us, and then we all had to sing our little songs or whatever. And the only thing I really remember about it is it was cold as hell. because we was at Soldier Field, so it was cold. Our booking arrangements, our hotel arrangements. Oh my God, I was outside for 24 hours in the cold, bro. They
Oh,
they literally messed up our hotel arrangements. So we were supposed to have like a little Motel 6 or whatever, when we got there, but they ended up upgrading us to the Marriott, but I had to stay outside for 24 hours in the cold to get it, basically. So that was
damn.
that part was trash. But it wasn't 24 hours, but pretty close. Um, so yeah, man, that's the part I remember about it. And then there was this one girl in my group. Man, I don't know how she didn't get through. I'm talking about she was from Atlanta, and I got to talking to her or whatever, because you in line forever, so you get to talking to people. My mom running around taking pictures of dudes dressed up like girls in clown suits and all type of crazy stuff. So she probably got all them pictures of people kicking it and talking still, dressed weird or whatever. But uh, she was off doing that, and then I got to talk for some reason. Got to talking to this one female and this one dude, and man, she went down there and lit it up, bro. And they was like, "Well, I'm sorry, but none of y'all voices are original. We gotta let everybody go." We was like, "Oh." So
Man,
they let us out. They let all of us go, and all of us in that little line we was in. They was like, "Yeah, y'all gotta go. Y'all can go on home."
damn.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you go, you do the audition, and then like, don't you do if I'm not mistaken, like some engineering, like when it comes to like music and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Actually, a lot of the stuff that I do, podcasting wise, I use the same board I do when I engineer. So it's down here. but,
The-
but yeah, man, I do some engineering or whatever. I do a lot of video editing for people. Like I consulted on a church a few years ago on helping them update their sound and video systems. So
Mhm.
whenever I'm needed, bro, I just use my knowledge wherever I'm needed at for real.
That's what's up, man. Like it's good. Like, dude, I've always been like such a huge fan of music, man, to the point where, my homeboy Casey, shout out to him. He's the one to do all the music for this podcast. And like, we've been in talks, man. We actually put one beat on together. It was my intro way back. Like I used it probably like for episode 50 through like 75 or something like that of the Stolen Time podcast. And we got all the way up to 214 before I ended that podcast. But we did a beat together, and we've been talking about we got together a couple weeks ago where we like, what I'm saying, doing some ideas. We got some ideas on some music stuff that we want to do, but like more on like producer type of shit.
Yeah.
Um, so like, do you do that, or you just like behind the music, like you're not really like producing and making beats, you just more like cleaning it basically.
It's a little bit of all of the above. So like one of the posts you was talking about, I ended up purchasing a beat from a guy named JK Beats, and let me tell you, man, this dude right there, man, like I don't know what's going on with his production or whatever he got going on, but I don't know. I'll be like, listen, I done felt like 100 beats on his thing. I just got in the cart, like
Hmm.
he that cold with it. So I was like, let me just buy some from him. So most of the time, recently, I've been buying from him and my brother, actually about to be my actual brother-in-law, Jim City Nate. He did the beat for the Link podcast, which I probably start dropping again more consistently in 2022, just for creative changes or whatever that I want to make. But he did the beat for that, and he's one of the guys I talk to when I'm talking about the actual engineering part, because the engineering part is probably my weakness. But if you send me a beat and I got a napkin next to me, I can structure a song in sometimes 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm more of the all right, this sound good, this don't sound good. Take that out the song, put this in the song. I'm kind of that guy.
Oh, okay, I got
Yeah.
you, I got you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm new at it all, man. Like we had got together a couple weeks ago, man. We was putting together some stuff, but like for me, like the biggest thing, man, is really time, yo. Because like when you going through that soundboard, there's so many sounds, man. There's so many sounds, and then like you want that one particular sound, and then it's like you got to match them all up, put them on the board, and then you got to get the man. It's a lot, man. It's a lot, but it's also something that I'm passionate as well. about. So speaking of that, like you said that y'all did this rap thing, but then you
Yep.
said you did the American Idol thing. So
Yep.
I'm thinking this new music you talk about, this is more of you singing, if I'm not mistaken,
It's
right?
it's actually both.
Oh,
So
okay. So you
it's actually
draking it,
both.
you know what
Yeah, basically.
I'm saying?
Like I got a whole bunch of old stuff that I had did before, and it was more so what the music was out then. Like you would hear some singing stuff or whatever, but most of it was just straight hip hop. What all the crazy stuff we was doing in the streets or whatever back then. Now it's more just conscious type of stuff. Like if I'm talking about love, I'm talking about love from a experience perspective. If I'm talking about what's going on outside, I'm talking about it from an experience perspective. I'm not really embellishing too much or none of that stuff or whatever. But it just basically like how it hit me. The funny thing about the rapping and the singing is that when I was younger, I used to walk around singing, and my uncles, they all macho dudes. You know what I'm saying? Which is weird because if you think about it, older dudes be so macho about their hip hop, but hip hop wasn't available to them when they was younger. So y'all was listening to the
Yeah.
OJs and all that, but y'all trying to tell me I'm soft because I like music, R&B. Like it don't add up. But, but whatever, man. I'll talk to them about that when I see them next week or so. But but you know what I'm saying, it don't add up. So they used to always tell me, like, man, you soft, man, you singing and all this stuff. So I'm like, man, whatever. So I wrote poetry and stuff like that too. So I'm like, all right, they want me to be hard. I'm gonna be hard then. So I started writing raps or whatever. And I took that and started freestyling in Dayton. It's like downtown by the hubs or whatever. So we
Mhm.
used to go down there. People would be making beats and freestyling in the lunchroom. And then I started getting a little bit of a following back at the high school for doing music. So people would just pull me to the side. I'm like, hey, spit some or rap or, whatever. So I do it. And then when I really got known for starting to sing was senior year, they was looking for somebody to sing at the commencement. And so I don't know if it was E or somebody was like, oh, he can sing. They like, man, cut it out. So we in a literature class, and I'm sitting in the literature class looking at them like, come on, bro. And so one girl was like, you can sing for real? I'm like, yeah. So she was like, you lying. So I just sang right in the middle of the class, like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Y'all think I'm lying? I'm gonna show everybody I ain't lying. So I sang in front of the class, and then the rest was history, bro. I've been doing that ever since.
Man, that's what's up, man.
Yep.
So you ended up so you went to three different colleges, right?
Yeah, three different colleges. Technically
And
four
you
because I'm in the middle of a master's, but yeah, three. Three that I went to before I graduated. Yeah.
so but Akron was the one that you actually took a music course.
That was St. Clair where I took music. Well, no, I took music at all three of them, to be honest with you. I took music at all three of them. I took my actual music major, I took at the community college. So when I was a music major, all of my singing and piano stuff was there. And then I took another piano class at Akron U. And then I took a lot of production stuff at Wright State, like how to work different kind of boards and different programs and stuff like that at Wright State. So yeah, all of them.
That's what's up, man. But man, let me say, you know what I'm saying? I know you are. I was gonna say I hope. I don't even know where that even came from, but I know you're gonna get this master's. You know what I'm saying? You seem like a very dedicated dude. Seem like a dude that could finish a task, man. And that's gonna translate me to podcasting. So is the Link podcast the first podcast that you started and that you was a part of?
Yep, that's the first one. That's the first one.
And so when did like what got you in that mindset to even start a podcast?
Yeah, the crazy thing is you actually transitioned that perfectly because when I went to college, I went to high school, we was talking about football. I went to a technical center, and my magnet, if you will, or whatever major at the high school was radio on TV. So I took radio on TV at the high school, graduated and wanted to try something different. Was going through the schools trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I took I did engineering, then I couldn't figure. I did music again. I'm like, this ain't what I want to do. So then I went back to radio and TV. I got my degree in mass media communications, radio and TV, with a minor in business. And so when I got out, I started interviewing for all of these radio jobs. I literally interviewed for every major radio and TV station up here in Cleveland, Akron area, like everywhere.
Mhm.
And nobody hired me. So I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I got this degree, all this money that I done spent, waste of time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is a waste of time. Then I started thinking, like, well, this is what I want to do. I got the knowledge to do it. So I like doing it. So let me just start my own. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just start my
Yeah,
own from the ground up, and wherever it go from the ground up, it go.
I feel you, man. Like it was a totally different path for me. Like like I just like I mean I went to like when I went to college, man. Like I didn't even necessarily even know what I wanted to do. Like I just kind of like I mean I basically went up there. Look, my major was football. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
went up
Yep.
there. I went up there, man. You know I took a chance. I went up there and like my credits didn't transfer, so they had to redshirt me. So what I'm saying I just went through that red shirt year just practicing, getting beat up for no reason. Getting beat up for no reason
Right.
in cold ass West Virginia. And so then, I went through some injuries and some money problems, so I ended up quitting. But like what got me on the podcast was my homeboy Mark that I actually met in college. Still my homeboy to this day. He introduced me to podcasting. I didn't even know what a podcast was until he got to telling me about it. But like I had started a little sports blog on this website, and then like I translate that to like doing little YouTube videos and shit, just sports takes and stuff like that.
Right.
And then while I'm listening to these podcasts, one person, and I always mention this person, this was the person that really motivated me to do it, but it took another person to get me to go out and do it. The person that motivated me to do it was Reggie Osei, which is a Combat Jack. I heard Combat Jack's podcast, and dude, I was blown away. And I to this day, like I try to model myself after him because that was to me, other than Uncle Washington, was the greatest podcast I ever heard. And so then
Right.
he passed away. He passed away of cancer. And so, but how I started the podcast was I finished Charlemagne's The God book, Black Privilege, Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It. And like, soon as I finished
Mhm.
that book, that next week I started the podcast. I had nobody to talk to. Nobody around me knew what a podcast was.
Right.
So that's why, like, I just like, dude, I started that shit like just out on the limb. Like nobody know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. It took me forever to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Back in the SoundCloud days, I'm doing that. And like, cause I started out solo. Like I didn't like my very first podcast was by myself. And then my homeboy Mark listened to it and he was just like, yo, he's like, you could have did this better, could have did this better. You did good here, but you need a co-host, man. And I was like, I don't fucking talk to nobody. The only person I talk to is my uncle.
Right.
And then, dude, and the thing is, what was so great about that was the fact that me and my uncle at that time, every Saturday I would go to this house. We would just kick shit. We would talk about sports, life, history, all this type of shit. So I was like, man, we could just do what we do every Saturday and just put it on wax. And that's what we did. Like, you know what I'm saying? We just did a whole bunch of episodes of shit we would have talked about anyway. So that's really how I ended up podcasting. Like I ain't got no degrees behind it. I ain't go to school for any of it. Like I just learned, I picked up a lot of shit along the way. I met Scoots along the way. Like I met him around well not met, but like we found each other on Instagram, and that was around like episode 20 of the Stolen Time podcast when I had met him through Instagram. And then like so we started sharing ideas because it was good for me because it was like I didn't know nobody else who podcasted. So it was some things that I didn't know. I talked to him, oh, okay. And then he was like, he got a question about this, and then like, oh, I remember that. So then we would share information, and like we've been rocking with each other ever since. And so that's really pretty much how I had got into it. So, but the smart thing that you did that I did not do was you started the Link Entertainment. So, I mean, you went into the whole LLC, you went into the whole management and stuff. So, like, how did that mindset of starting the Link Entertainment, how did that come about?
That was a little bit of a rocky journey because I had an idea to start a business that would basically be like a hub for creative people, basically, right? So You got music, which was my passion. So I'm like, you know what? I could start this little entertainment company or whatever. I could have artists come over and record under us, or they could go perform. I can help them book their shows, or I can create shows. You know, put events together. Which I put an event together a few years ago with my sister who does the Army of Dreamers. We put a show together a few years ago that went relatively decently, and we had a pretty big artist come out, like a painter, come out and help us with that or whatever, which was cool. Well, she got paid, but help us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we did that a few years ago. COVID hit, which kind of rocked it up a little bit. But the main thing is that I wanted to have something to where I could help people or whatever, and be a hub for people who do what I do, and people who just do music or people who just want to do a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Where people can come together, and I have this basically a hub. That's why it's called the Link for two reasons. One, when we used to rap back in the day, we called ourselves delinquents. That was weird, but that's what we called each other. So we just shortened it up and was like, "Who you with, man? We with the Link." Like, but I got that idea. The name for it in this sense was just, being a hub, everything would be cohesive and would link together. So if I had an artist who wanted to record some music, okay, well, you can use the facility to, if I had a facility built besides, my portable one, you could come to the facility or wherever I'm at, and then you could record, right? So then if I got a show I'm putting on 60 days from now, I would use my artist pool to do the show. If we needed some financials, then I'll have financial people who I know who do taxes and business financials and all of that stuff. We would pull those people in to do the financials for the people who run in the buildings that do the shows and for the artists. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just one big circular thing where, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like a double helix kind of thing where everything worked together. You know what I mean? So that was the main idea behind it. The rocky part came in when I first came in with the idea. So I'm explaining it to my boys and telling them like, man, let's do this thing, man. Y'all talking about y'all want to start a business. You know what I'm saying? Let's start one. So I bring the articles of incorporation to the, we watching, I think it was the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox game. We'll go up in the room where we was watching it all at, a little fella's room or whatever. And I'm getting the articles of incorporation together. And then, nothing ever came together. You know what I mean? With that. So I was just like, you know what? I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I came to the conclusion, like I just need to go ahead and do it anyway. This is my passion. So let me just do it. And so, I started doing it.
That's how it's weird how that works, man. And then even when it comes to this, like me and Scoots would always talk about like just the people around you not really having the passion of the things that you have passion in, like what you're passionate about. And I was lucky enough, rest in peace to my guy Uncle Washington. He was passionate about doing a podcast, but then at the same time, it was kind of like, well, I mean, you're in your late 60s, and like that's how really this podcast even really came about, was the fact of there was things that I wanted to talk about that, he wasn't on social media and things like that. So this podcast gave me the opportunity to do and speak about other things. And so
Right.
that's why I had ended up, starting this podcast. But then like what's so great about this podcast community, especially the podcast community that we created, like, I was able to meet Scoots, and then Scoots got me, what I'm saying, to meet E. And then, meeting E, then I end up meeting you. And then, me and Jamar went to school together. So then he calls me because I was the only person that he knew did a podcast. So he calls me, I gives him the advice of everything that I know, and then this dude blows up.
Right.
And then
Right.
nah, man, shout out to my guy, man. That's my guy, man. But
He
but
the youngster and a resident Steelers fan in the crew. He the one that decided he
yeah,
wanted to take off. If he would have dropped the Steelers, I'd have been fine with it. But
man.
shout out
But
to
man,
JD. I just said that
nah,
'cause
but
he
you
watching.
know what though? This the thing though, like this is what I love about JD is the fact of like he do shit that you don't have to do. Like you have to do like, he will put out these long, well thought out posts about like him going to where he wants to go, but he also credits the people that helped him get there. And he would
Mhm.
always credit me. He would be like, I reached out to this dude. He didn't even have to say nothing back. You know what I'm saying? I told him
Right.
everything I knew about podcasting. He took it and he skyrocketed with that shit.
Mm.
But like he would always tell people like, yo, if it wasn't for, you know what I'm saying, S dot, I wouldn't even be in the situation I'm in today. And for somebody to say that, like that's all the gratitude that I need, you know.
Right.
But then to also always come back, like, you know, he joined the 4-3 pod with us and like, and so this podcast community that we have, you know what I'm saying? I can't tell everybody the goods, but we've been speaking, you know what I'm saying, off
Yep.
camera about some ideas that we have and stuff like that. But it's just so weird to be able to meet people. Well, you know what I mean by meet. This is the only way
Yeah.
we met. We haven't met in person, but like, you know, to find people that have that type of passion. But I think that what we can all do, I think we all have a talent. And
Mhm.
it's like for the things that we're talking about, I think that we'll be able to reach those goals that we put up, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes. And I think that you and JD, y'all are the minds, you know what I'm saying, of this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And like I had told you before, you definitely got the voice for the shit. Which is I remember like the first time and I want to move transition to that as well. I remember the first time I like really heard the C podcast. And I'm like, yo, boy, this Ciege dude, but he got the voice for this shit. But I was like, and I didn't even know what you look like. The first time I even seen what you even look like
Like, nah,
was
he don't look like that, bro. Like this dude look like he look like sound like what's that dang, I can't even think of his name on the cartoon, that little bookworm dude. I gotta think of his name. I can't think of it though.
That is so funny, man. But I would like listen to this shit and I'd be like, yo, man, this dude got the voice for this shit. Because like when you podcast, like it's I mean, you can I mean, I don't know how you are, but like don't get me wrong, I can enjoy a podcast, but at the same time, like I hear and notice different shit because I podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like
So,
that's just like when like me and I mean we're not professional critics or anything, but like when me and Scoots would break down a movie, like we don't look at movies like everybody else kind of look at movies. Like because when we break these movies down on the Viewers Anonymous, it's like we're not really. Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy it. I've always loved and watching movies, but like it's just different. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? When you gonna break it down on a podcast. So like the C podcast, man. So I like I like the way y'all break it down. So tell everybody what the C podcast even stands for.
The C podcast, and I gotta do it how we do it on there. Sports
Yeah, man, you
entertainment
got.
and extra shit. Yeah, sports entertainment and extra shit. We just get on there. We go in that order too. Talk about sports, all of the sports topics that interest us for that specific week or whatever. And then entertainment is just any entertainment anecdote, even it can include like the entertainment factor in sports. And then I kind of changed up the extra shit the last couple of episodes to make it just like some extra shit that you've seen during that week, or somebody in pop culture doing some extra shit, you know what I'm saying, or something
Yeah,
like that. So so that's kind of what it is now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
that's
that's
what's
what
up,
that one
man.
is.
Like, yeah, man. Like it's nah, man. Like it's man. Look, dude, it's great because like I remember in the beginning, dude. Like it was just me. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just me. Then I brought Uncle Washington in, so then it's just me and him, and then I meet Scoots. And then like Casey, like he had always been there, you know, giving me like, cause I remember I was like I was about to say ashamed. It wasn't that I was ashamed. It was just like I was still nervous and felt a way
Mhm.
about like even telling people about the podcast. Like I would like promote it and stuff like on my Facebook and Instagram and shit like that. But like I couldn't like just go up to people like, yo, go check out my podcast type thing. So I was still kind of there. But like he was one of the dudes that I told that I was doing it. And so he was just like, yo, do you got any intro beats? So like I just started like using all of his music, and putting it on my podcast. So I was like, well, I can promote your shit while I'm doing my shit.
Right.
So like that's how that whole thing even came about. But so y'all do that podcast, take a little hiatus from that, which I feel was kind of great because I feel like if y'all didn't take a hiatus from that, y'all probably wouldn't have joined the 4-3 podcast. That's what I
Nah,
feel like.
actually, it's two different. I was just talking to E about this the other day. We was on the we playing Madden. Sometimes that's how we decompress, bro. We get to talk about sports. Like, man, just hop on Madden or something. And then, we drink or whatever while we playing Madden or talking about sports or whatever. Or we do this, you know what I'm saying? Test out like technical things while we chilling and talking about stuff or whatever. But we was talking about that. He was like, "You think you would have joined the 4-3?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, because it's two sports podcasts though. I'm like, but they serve two different purposes though. Like you got to think like it's like 4-3 is kind of like around the horn a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like where
Mhm.
each of us get our say in. You know what I mean? We laugh and then we talk about our picks or whatever, and then we hop off. You know what I'm saying? With the college and NFL, even high school. If we got a high school anecdote or whatever. With the C podcast, it encompasses more than that. Like last week, I went to more than that, and it's longer. So, like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So, I talked about the MLB, the playoffs, and gave everybody the MLB playoffs, and then I started talking about, uh, the NBA a little bit, and then I started talking about, the NFL because that's the crux of what we were talking about in the middle of NFL season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I leave. I feel like the 4-3 is a more specialized version of the NFL part. Like if I'm looking for specifically NFL, I'm gonna be like, if I'm just an outside listener, I'm gonna direct them to the 4-3 podcast. Like this is the football podcast, bro. You need to go listen to this one because it's the what you need for football, and it's not long and drawn out, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's not like one person talking for 30 minutes about two different quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that can kind of turn people off. So I'll be like, you know what? Check out this podcast over here. You know what I'm saying? We do this. Even if I'm not on it that week or whatever, I still direct them there to let them know, like, this is the compressed version of what you need, like the finite points. Everybody got something valid to say. And, it's different perspectives too. Like, you don't really want to always hear one perspective because they might not agree with your perspective. But then with the 5 people that's on the show, you're bound to hear your perspective on there and see how people can come from different angles. And I think that's important too. That's why like
Yeah.
Undisputed and like I said, Around the Horn and all those shows do so well because it's, you know what I'm saying? You're coming at it from different viewpoints, not just one person. So I definitely would have came on for those reasons. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's that more boom, boom, boom. Like, who the MVP? Yeah, we can have a barbershop discussion about who the
Yep.
MVP is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing too. Like, people like going to the barbershop and having those conversations wherever they at. And that's how I kind of see it. It's like we the barbershop with the finite points. And I don't do a whole lot of like on the C podcast, it's more it's less relaxed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we say little cuss words here and there, but on the 4-3, you're gonna hear it how you gonna hear it when you're walking outside and talking to people at the barbershop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So
You
that's another
definitely are.
thing. Yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah, man. Like it's great, man, and it's fun, man, because you know what I'm saying, me and Scoops, you know what I'm saying, we went on our rant this week. We had a disagreement on Alabama. And like, man, it's fun, man. It's like especially when you hear it back, like it was like, oh man, but that was fun, man. Like it's fun because like you said, everybody had a different perspective of how they view stuff. And then like and that was a great thing to say, like undisputed, because like a lot of the time Shannon and Skip they be disagreeing, and it's just like with 5 people, like everybody's not gonna agree. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, and then like we kind of single out our moments where we can let 2 people battle it out for a second, and then the third person might have an opinion as well, which is different. So that's one thing that's definitely great about it. So, what is your I guess I want to say like what is your end goal or like what is your vision of what you want to see Link Entertainment like like the finished product of it? Like what do you want to see out of it?
I guess I can't give away everything, but
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
I would
Don't do
kind of
that.
make it be like I guess I'll say like a tree with a lot of different branches on it, right? So each branch that we built so far, we're trying to build it to be a nice sturdy branch of the biggest tree. Like the link is the tree, what I
Hmm.
want it to be. And then the different branches will be like, all right, we got podcasts, we got videos and skits and stuff like that, that we gonna put out in the near future. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to, all the podcasts that we do, I want to be able to carry them so people can click on the website and then get to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all individual ones too, not just the ones that we on together. You know what I mean? So, like, basically, like a big hub where, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, tree and branches, man. So, like, if you into podcasts and they say, all right, well, I don't want to listen to the Link podcast. I don't want to listen to the C podcast, and they already on the website, well, why wouldn't I direct them to the affiliate people, affiliate shows that we do that's not with the Link Entertainment, you know what I mean? Like you got you got the 28 minutes or less, which is this one, and then you and Scoots got the I always mix these shows up. But y'all got the do you do the stolen time with him, or you do viewers with him?
I
You
do
do
viewers
viewers.
with him.
You do viewers with
Yeah.
him. All right, so you do viewers with him, and then he do stolen time. Or no, he
No.
do he
I
do
I
hey man, the stolen time is yours. He do
well, he do
I just looked
isolated
up on
society.
That's it. That's what I was getting to. My
Yeah.
bad. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, but man, so, I always mix them up, man. Scoots be telling me like, bro, if you don't get this written down somewhere, I'm like, it's written down, bro. But and ain't nobody trying to hear me fiddling through them while I'm yes. But anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway. So I want them people to be able to look at one site and be like, all right, well, I can go here. Then they can connect to you and get to your site, and you can direct them wherever you need them to go in your catalog. You know what I'm saying? But just how I do in regular life. Like I have camera equipment, right? So if somebody say, hey, I'm about to have a baby and I don't want to pay $5,000 for baby shower pictures, I'll be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I charge them a little fee and I'll go out there and take some baby shower pictures. And is that part of the Link Entertainment? Not necessarily, but it's me using what I already have and what I know to help somebody get somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's basically what I'm saying. So if you want to direct them to your podcast network outside of, like I said, the ones we do together, then the Link should be able to do that. And basically the slogan for the Link has been, we link you to people doing great things around you. So that's what I
That's
try to
what's
do.
up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. And then that's another thing, like, before we get out of here, it's like names. Like
Mhm.
people don't know like how important names is and like the thought process of you even getting to how you even came up with that name. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I would always tell people, I don't know if I told it to you, but like how I even came up with the name, the Stolen Time Podcast, was when I started podcasting in 2017, like all the podcasts that I listened to other than Scoots were all famous people.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'm not famous. So like, how am I going to, justify the name of my podcast? So I was like, okay, so if you took the time out of your day to listen to my podcast, I would look at it like I don't necessarily deserve your time, but if you took the time to listen to it, I have stolen your time.
Right. That's dope.
So that's how I came up with the whole concept of the Stolen Time Podcast. Because if you listen to it, that means I stole your time for you taking the time out of your day to listen to it. So that's how I even came up with it. And like the 28 minutes or less, that's just basically like I wore number 20 in basketball, I wore number 8 in football, and I just put that shit together and just put, what I'm saying, minutes or less, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, but like, but at the end of the day,
But
like,
the slogan though, the slogan in the intro, I was like, oh, that's dope. When you said, if I can't catch your attention in 28 minutes or less, I was like, oh, that's dope. You get your money back. I was like, all
yeah,
right.
hey, and know what? I can't even take credit for it because you want to know who did that?
Who did that?
JD.
JD, look. Hey,
JD did that.
I'm like, oh, that's cold. I was like, all right, I see what they did there.
Yeah, man. So Hey, like we working out here. I tell people all the time, man. It's just like, yo, like I'm working. You know, we got. I feel like, man. I feel like we got a good team, man. And I feel like,
Yeah.
the time that we putting into this stuff. Like I know some people think it's a waste of time. Some people. I know sometimes my girl be like, man, like you podcasting again. Like, yeah, man, gotta get this material in because the more material that you got, man, is good for you.
Hmm.
And before we get out of here, what is the impact that you want? Do you want more of an impact behind the scenes or on the scene? Because like you do a lot of engineering stuff, you know what I'm saying? You got the business mindset. So my question to you is before we get out of here, what is your main focus? Would you rather be a behind the mic guy or a on the mic guy?
Man, that's crazy that you asked me that. I don't know, man. I think when I was younger, I always wanted to be on the mic. Like, let me do the radio show. Let me do like I want to get my name out there, like or whatever. But now it's more of a well, however we got to get there. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I'll have like people who I associated with or whatever. Or I was trying to get them to do music, and I'm buying the beats for them, and I'm trying to get them on the mic so I can get them managed out there. Like, let's just get you somewhere and get your train moving. And if we get your train moving, that could be proof that we can get other trains moving, right?
Hmm.
So when those trains kept failing, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I got to do it then. You know what I mean? So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, now I got to put out something, or I got to do this, or I got to go over here and take these pictures and do this and do that, or whatever. So I would say now more so probably behind the scenes will be my preference. Um, I mean, I'm not young, I'm not old, but I ain't young. I definitely
Yeah.
ain't in shape like I used to be when I was playing ball. So, I mean, anybody trying to look at no dude like, bro, get out of here. like, boy, your hairline going back, and you done gained 100 pounds. Get off my screen, G.
Hey.
Hey, you know how that go though. Hey, but real talk
Oh
though.
man.
But real talk though, I do gotta say, one more thing I want to say, man. It's crazy that we all linking up or whatever and doing what we doing because like one, I didn't know you or even Scoots or JD, you know what I mean, beforehand. My connection to y'all came through E or whatever. And then but knowing E and who we affiliate with, who we associate with and stuff like that, I see the passion like behind it, how he came in the room talking about him and Schools doing the podcast. And then when I got to meet with y'all, see y'all passionate about how y'all do y'all podcast. You know what I'm saying? The ideas and everything that everybody is putting out there is just like, all right, like even from jump from the first time I put out an episode where I knew you or I knew Scoots or recently knowing JD, like Scoot's been sharing my stuff for forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I
Mhm.
just met Scoots in person a week and a half ago. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you know what I'm saying? Like we meeting people who do these things is it's refreshing for one, and then two is like, all right, we actually going somewhere, being with people who in this podcast community, if that's what we want to call it. I see it as a little bit more than that because we don't do just podcasts, but
Mhm.
podcast community or whatever. And I see where it's going. Like I see the bigger picture already, just because I see when y'all talking about it, how y'all see y'all visions and how they placed out. So I see, I can see the growth and where it's going. Then the other thing is that one of the reasons why I mix all of the names of the podcasts up, because if you look at my podcast and each one of my podcasting apps, we the only podcast I got in there. So I got one more in there besides everything that we do, and that's I got to give them a shout out because they're doing something great. To the Fatherhood Village with my man Deshar Holloway and Kev Hick, Deo and Kev Hick. They trying to inspire people to be better fathers or whatever. And if you're already a good father, just trying to keep you square that way or whatever. So shout them out too. But basically what I'm getting at is those are the only podcasts in there. Everything we do, all of the Army of Dreamer stuff is in there. You might see me listening to like a famous podcast here and there. But if you look at my Apple podcast, it's everything y'all do. So,
Mhm.
so I'll be like, all right, let me go. holla at this podcast today, and it'd be you. Then I'll be like, all right, well, let me holla at this podcast today, or I'll catch JD on live. I'm listening to JD and Carm, or him and the other two guys, or he normally had one guy with him and then another host with them or whatever on the podcast. So you know what I'm saying? Dude who was eating thing on camera.
Hey, that was his brother.
He was smashing out like, bro, this dude came on that mug at 8. Like he ate all day, boy. Y'all better leave him alone.
That's funny, man.
But that's all my podcasts. So you know what I'm saying? So I'll go cycle through them. So I don't know. I'm gonna get the names down eventually, but that's the main reason why, because they all group together in my podcast. And then if I listen to them in the Apple podcast, and I go to Castbox and it still say new, and I'm cleaning up, I'm gonna play it again while I'm going around. You know what I'm saying? All right, we just gonna put this on, see if I miss something. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. And then I travel a lot too when I'm driving, so that's what all I listen to when I be driving. So yeah.
Shoot, appreciate that, man. Because it's like, man, the grind is real, man. Like people don't understand, like when you starting out with no fan base, and it's just so great, and I'm so fortunate, man, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, to meet y'all fellas, man. Like I say, I mean, I knew JD, from, he a little younger than me, but like we was in high school together. Cause I was like, I think I was a senior when he was a freshman or a sophomore. And so, I know him from then, but like just the community, like I like to call it a community as well, but like what we have, built in just such a small amount of time, and like being able to bounce ideas off each other, because there may be things that I'm not well versed at that you would be, and then they'd be like, okay, well, there, and you can handle that type stuff, and then like JD can handle this, Scoot can handle this, E can handle that, so it's like, I think it's great what we're doing, man, and I think the finished product, man, when everything get all squared away, I think the finished product, man, I think we'll be able to make an impact in this game. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I firmly believe that. And like that's my main thing. My main thing is really just being heard. Like me and Scoots have a lot of conversations about this stuff. And it's like our end goal really when it comes to like the Viewers Anonymous is just the fact of like we got a passion for movies. The people around us don't really watch the movies like that or really talk about them like that. So we just like, well shit, we'll just share that shit with the world and see if, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people fuck with our movie reviews. So that's really like all that is, man. And we just have a fun time doing it. The 4-3, man, like we just have a fun time talking football, man. That's really what it is. Like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you want to be heard, but at the same time, it's like, man, you want to have fun doing something. And like
Definitely.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. So hopefully you can make it this week, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't made it. I gotta call you out, man. You made it
again, boy.
Hey.
I ain't missing it again. I was sorry I missed the last one. I was like, bro, I got some stuff to say about these, boy. And I was like,
yeah.
man. You hear my
man,
kid in the background today. I was like, I ain't missing this one either. He gonna have to holler. He gonna have to holler.
That's what's up, man. So before we get out of here, man, again, tell everybody where they can find you, all your ads, if you got a website that you want to plug, all that type stuff, man.
Yeah, so you can catch me at Ciege 101 on Twitter. That's the personal Twitter, at the link ENT LLC on almost everything else except on Instagram is at the link Entertainment LLC. The website, I have all of that on there too. It's the link entllc.com. Again, that's the link entllc.com. And then on the business side, on the engraving stuff I mentioned earlier, right now we just got the Etsy page up. It's Kurt's Custom Engraving. We got a few things on there that I'm gonna add on soon. Like I got Link Entertainment coasters up there. I got Kurt's Custom Engraving coasters, QR codes, links. You see what I did there, y'all?
Yeah.
So I made the QR code chains and all of that stuff up there. But if anybody wants something custom, you can shoot it to the Kurt's Custom Engraving at Gmail, or you can send it to the link ENT. It's gonna get to me either way. And I'd be glad to make something for y'all or send y'all some merch or something. You know how that roll. So just hit me on any one of those. If you want to find my personal Facebook, which I'm sure people probably gonna try to look up and see what my government name is, it's Curtis. You can find me on there. uh, Curtis Boykin, if y'all want to look. Just don't come on there talking no trizash, because you will get blocked, cussed out, and blocked. So, hey, so facts. So leave all that other stuff on the Link Entertainment, the Link ENTLLC.com, and I'll holler at y'all. But other than that, keep all that mess away, because we cleaned all that up.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit, man. You know what I'm saying? For everybody, for me, man, you can catch me at s.foster8 on Instagram and Twitter, at 28 minutes or less pod on Instagram. Let me see, 28 minutes or less on Facebook. Also, I always like to plug my other podcasts. You can catch the Views Anonymous on all major platforms, but you can catch that at View Anon Pod. That's on IG and Twitter. Both handles are the same. Siege, man, I appreciate you coming on the pod with me today, man. Hopefully we will see you Wednesday. We still coming up with the topics for that. You know what I'm saying? You can catch E, JD, and Scoots, and hopefully Siege this week on the 4-3 podcast. Hopefully we have the whole crew, man. We haven't had the whole crew in a couple of weeks, man. So hopefully we can get the whole crew this week. But it's gonna be tough to get JD. He's a very busy man, and he's working a little late. So we'll see what we can do when it comes to that. But man, again, I truly appreciate you for coming on this podcast with me, man. I love the passion that you have for this work. You know what I'm saying? You got the mind for it, you got the voice for it. And for the future, I just think people really need to look out for you, man. I think that this podcast, episode 63, is gonna be very important because you got a bright future, man. You got a very bright future.
Appreciate that, man. You got to switch that you to we, man. We got a bright future, man. We about to
Because I'm part of the team as well.
Definitely, man. We're going to make them believe sooner or later, whether they don't, if they don't. Not whether they don't, but we're going to make them believe.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I will also have all of your information in the bio. Not the bio, but the description. But I appreciate everybody for listening to the 28 minutes or less this week. This was episode 63 of the podcast. And until next time, we out this piece.
All right, y'all.